Imagine for a moment that inside your body is a pair of tiny, tireless workers. They never sleep, they never complain, and they quietly clean your blood every single minute of every single day. Yet for millions of older adults, these workers, the kidneys, are silently struggling. By the time most people notice something is wrong, damage has already been done. That's the frightening truth. Kidney disease can creep in without obvious symptoms, yet it can steal away independence, energy, and even years of life. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to end that way. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. Today, I want to share with you a hopeful path forward, one that blends medical science with simple, practical habits. Together, we'll explore how you can protect kidney health, lower high creatinine, and even reverse damage, restoring the freedom and vitality you deserve. When I think of lifestyle choices and their impact on the kidneys, I often remember a gentleman named Harold, one of my patients in his early 70s. Harold loved his retirement, but he also loved his nightly ice cream sundaes and long afternoons sitting in front of the television. Over time, he put on quite a bit of weight. What he didn't realize was that those extra pounds were quietly straining his kidneys. His lab results showed rising creatinine levels, a signal that his kidneys were struggling. It wasn't until his doctor warned him about the possibility of dialysis that Harold felt the weight of what was happening. Yet with steady lifestyle changes, shedding pounds, moving more, and adjusting his diet, he turned things around. Today, Harold walks daily with his wife, and his kidney function has stabilized. Why do these lifestyle factors matter so much? Think of your kidneys as delicate sieves filtering out waste products. When we carry too much weight, it's like forcing thick sludge through a fine mesh strainer. The pressure builds, the tiny holes get clogged, and the filter begins to tear. Obesity is not just about looks. It drives inflammation and scarring inside the kidney tissue. A large Oxford University study even showed that people with a higher body mass index were several times more likely to develop end-stage kidney disease, regardless of whether they had diabetes or high blood pressure. For older adults, the takeaway is simple but powerful. Losing even a modest amount of weight can give your kidneys relief, like lifting a heavy stone off their back. Another villain in this story is smoking. Many people think of cigarettes as damaging only to the lungs, but the kidneys suffer just as much. Nicotine raises blood pressure, constricts blood vessels, and speeds up kidney decline. I recall a patient named Marjorie who had been smoking since her teens. By the time she came to see me in her 60s, her kidney function had dropped dangerously low. We worked together on a quit plan, patches, counseling, and daily encouragement. Within a year, her blood pressure improved, her circulation strengthened, and her kidneys stopped declining as quickly. Quitting smoking was, for her, like giving her kidneys a second wind. If you smoke, quitting may be the single best gift you can give not only your lungs and heart, but your kidneys as well. Then there is the silent predator, high blood pressure. Imagine the tiny blood vessels in your kidneys as delicate garden hoses. When pressure is too high day after day, those hoses begin to bulge, crack, and scar. Over time, the kidneys lose their ability to filter. Many people don't feel any symptoms of high blood pressure until damage has already been done. That's why regular monitoring is crucial, especially after age 50. A healthy range for blood pressure is below 140/90. But if you have kidney disease or diabetes, the goal is closer to 130/80. The good news is that lowering blood pressure doesn't always require medication alone. Reducing salt, exercising, limiting alcohol, and practicing stress management, simple steps like daily walking or deep breathing, can work wonders. And finally, we cannot talk about kidney health without talking about diabetes and heart disease. The kidneys, the heart, and blood sugar levels are like three close neighbors. When one struggles, the others feel it. High blood sugar damages the tiny blood vessels of the kidney, leading to protein leaking into urine and gradual scarring. That's why 1 in 3 adults with diabetes eventually develops kidney disease. Controlling blood sugar isn't just about avoiding sweets. It's about protecting your kidneys from oxygen starvation and long-term decline. Likewise, heart failure and kidney disease often go hand in hand. A weak heart means less blood flow to the kidneys, and damaged kidneys in turn worsen heart strain. But when we nurture one, we help the others. By managing blood sugar, cholesterol, and blood pressure, we create a circle of protection around the kidneys. The beauty of these lifestyle habits, losing weight, quitting smoking, lowering blood pressure, and managing diabetes and heart health, is that they don't just add years to life, they add life to years. They make walking to the park easier, climbing stairs less daunting, and afternoons with grandchildren more joyful. It's never about perfection. It's about steady, compassionate progress, the kind that honors your body's resilience. The kidneys may be small, but they are fiercely capable of recovery when given the right environment. And the first step to creating that environment begins with the daily choices you make. Food is one of the most powerful medicines we have, and when it comes to protecting kidney health, every bite tells a story. I once cared for a woman named Eileen, 68 years old, who had struggled with kidney problems for years. She believed she was eating healthy because she avoided sweets, but her diet was full of processed foods, canned soups, and frozen dinners. Her creatinine levels crept upward, and she felt constantly tired. When we worked together to reshape her meals, fewer processed foods, more fresh produce, and careful attention to protein, her numbers improved. She told me with tears in her eyes that she finally felt like she had control over her health again. So what does nutrition really mean for kidneys? Think of the kidneys as chefs in a busy kitchen. Every day they take in ingredients, nutrients, minerals, excess waste, and decide what to keep and what to throw out. When the pantry is overloaded with the wrong supplies, the kitchen staff becomes overwhelmed and mistakes happen. Over time, the whole system falls behind. Choosing the right foods is like giving your chefs fresh, manageable ingredients they can handle with ease. One mineral that often slips under the radar is phosphorus. Normally, healthy kidneys can filter out extra phosphorus, but damaged kidneys can't keep up. Too much phosphorus is like pouring sand into delicate gears. It builds up, hardens tissues, and harms bones as well as kidneys. Foods rich in phosphorus include processed meats, sodas, cheese, and certain beans. For someone with kidney concerns, keeping daily intake around 800 to 1,000 milligrams is often recommended. It's not about eliminating phosphorus completely, but about choosing wisely. Fresh fish instead of packaged deli meat, sparkling water instead of cola, a fresh salad instead of macaroni and cheese. Protein is another area where balance is essential. Our bodies need protein to maintain muscle and strength, but too much can overwhelm struggling kidneys. It's like adding too many dirty dishes to a sink with a clogged drain. The water backs up, and soon nothing flows. Research has shown that excessive protein can raise intraglomerular pressure, stressing the tiny filters of the kidneys. For older adults, the goal is not zero protein, but the right amount, often 0.6 to zero point 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for those with chronic kidney disease. That might mean choosing smaller portions of chicken or fish and pairing them with vegetables and grains. The quality of protein matters too. Lean sources like fish, poultry, and plant-based proteins tend to be gentler on the kidneys than processed meats. Processed and canned foods pose another hidden danger. Many people over 50 reach for canned soups, frozen meals, or snack foods out of convenience. But those foods are often loaded with sodium, preservatives, and phosphates. Sodium in particular acts like a sponge, pulling water into the bloodstream, raising blood pressure, and straining the kidneys. Imagine constantly turning up the pressure on a garden hose. The hose eventually weakens. By choosing fresh or frozen foods instead of canned and seasoning with herbs instead of salt, you can give your kidneys a much-needed break. Even small swaps, a fresh apple instead of packaged cookies, homemade stew instead of canned chili, make a difference. Antioxidants also play a surprising role in kidney repair. Free radicals, those unstable molecules that damage cells, are like tiny sparks threatening to burn through delicate tissues. Antioxidants act like fire extinguishers, quenching the sparks before they cause harm. Berries, leafy greens, nuts, dark chocolate, green tea, and turmeric are rich in these protective compounds. Studies suggest they help safeguard blood vessels, reducing inflammation, and protecting the kidney's filtering structures. Adding a handful of blueberries to your breakfast, a sprinkle of turmeric to your soup, or a cup of green tea in the afternoon may feel small, but over time, those choices build resilience. Finally, let's talk about the body's pH balance. Our blood is slightly alkaline, usually between 7.35 and 7.45, and the kidneys work tirelessly to keep it that way. But diets heavy in meat, processed foods, and sugar tilt the balance toward acidity, forcing the kidneys to work overtime. Eating more alkaline-forming foods, like leafy greens, citrus fruits, melons, and fermented vegetables, helps lighten their load. It's not about chasing alkaline diets as a fad, but about understanding that balance matters. When we eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables, we support the kidney's natural rhythm. Eileen, the patient I mentioned earlier, didn't change everything overnight. She started by swapping one canned soup a day for a homemade vegetable broth. She cut back her portions of meat and discovered she enjoyed lentils and beans in moderation. She began adding berries to her morning oatmeal. Within months, her lab results stabilized, and more importantly, she felt more energetic. That is the gift of nutrition. It doesn't just protect kidney function, it restores vitality, confidence, and joy. The food we eat either helps the kidneys keep pace or leaves them gasping for breath. Each choice is like casting a vote for your future health. And the beauty of it all is that no matter your age, it's never too late to start voting wisely. When it comes to protecting the kidneys, knowledge is every bit as important as lifestyle and diet. I often tell my patients, you can't fix what you don't measure. And nowhere is this truer than in the quiet story of kidney health. The kidneys rarely shout for attention until latent disease. Instead, they whisper. Through subtle changes in blood work, tiny shifts in urine, or the gradual rise of something called creatinine. High creatinine, for example, is one of the earliest warning signs that the kidneys are under stress. Many people over 50 don't know what creatinine even means, yet it could be the very number that helps them avoid dialysis or even kidney failure. I remember Mr. Lawson, a retired teacher in his mid-60s. He came to me feeling a bit more tired than usual, chalking it up to aging. But when I looked at his labs, his creatinine was creeping up, his glomerular filtration rate, often abbreviated as GFR, was dipping, and protein was starting to show in his urine. Left unchecked, this path would almost certainly have led him to dialysis within a few years. But because we caught it early, we were able to adjust his medications, fine-tune his diet for kidney disease, and reduce stress on his kidneys. Within months, his labs improved, and more importantly, he felt like himself again. He told me, "Doc, I thought I was just getting old, but I guess I was getting sick. Now I feel 10 years younger." That's the power of awareness. Regular checkups, especially blood and urine tests, are like peeking under the hood of a car before the engine seizes up. Tests like GFR, creatinine, blood urea nitrogen, and urine protein aren't just numbers. They are the language the kidneys use to tell us how they're doing. For seniors, having these tests at least once a year, more often if there's diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease, is vital. Think of it as a safety net, catching you before a fall. Medications are another area where awareness makes all the difference. Some of the most common over-the-counter drugs, pain relievers like ibuprofen, naproxen, and even frequent use of acetaminophen, can quietly harm the kidneys over time. They reduce blood flow through those delicate filters, as if turning down the faucet on a thirsty garden. For someone with healthy kidneys, occasional use may not cause trouble, but for older adults with already reduced function, these pills can be dangerous. I've seen patients who thought they were doing the right thing by taking daily ibuprofen for arthritis, only to find their kidney numbers worsening. Working with a doctor to find safer alternatives, whether physical therapy, different medications, or lifestyle changes, can prevent serious harm. The truth is, the medical system can sometimes feel intimidating, especially for seniors who may have been taught never to question their doctors. But I encourage you to see your physician as a partner, not a boss. Ask about your kidney numbers. Write them down. If you don't understand what GFR or creatinine means, ask. This isn't nagging. This is ownership of your health. In fact, studies consistently show that patients who are actively engaged in their care, those who track their numbers, adjust habits, and communicate openly, have better outcomes. There's also hope in the science. A 2011 study revealed that for every 10-unit rise in systolic blood pressure above the baseline, The risk of chronic kidney disease rose by about 6%. On the surface, that may sound discouraging, but the hopeful part is this. Lowering blood pressure, even by a little, measurably lowers kidney risk. That means each small step, an extra walk after dinner, less salt on the plate, one fewer cigarette, translates into real protection. Science shows us that kidney decline isn't inevitable. It can be slowed, paused, and in some cases, even reversed. When patients understand that their kidneys are not doomed, something shifts. Fear gives way to determination. I saw this with Mr. Lawson. At first, he felt helpless, as though his body was betraying him. But when he understood the mechanics, what creatinine meant, how diet for kidney disease worked, why avoiding certain medications mattered, he transformed his daily routines with a sense of purpose. He began choosing low-potassium foods when his lab suggested he needed them. He became diligent about his blood pressure. He started walking each morning. And in time, he saw his efforts reflected in improved numbers, a tangible reward for his commitment. That's what I want for everyone watching, to feel empowered rather than defeated. The kidneys are remarkably resilient organs. They can recover from years of silent strain if we catch the damage early, adjust habits, and respect their limits. Medical awareness isn't about living in fear of lab results. It's about shining a light so you can walk confidently forward, knowing each choice you make is informed and effective. Your kidneys have been faithfully working for you since before you were born. Now, in this chapter of life, they ask for your partnership. Learn their language, respect their signals, and team up with your healthcare providers. Together, you can protect kidney function, avoid unnecessary harm, and preserve not just years of life, but the freedom and independence that make those years meaningful. If there's one message I hope stays with you, it's that kidney damage is not a life sentence. It's a call to action. By making small, steady choices, walking a little more, quitting smoking, choosing fresh foods, keeping an eye on your numbers, you can protect kidney function and even reverse decline. No matter your age, it is never too late to change the story. Your body is resilient, your spirit is strong, and you deserve the health to enjoy the years ahead. I'm Dr. Brian, and thank you for joining me here on Vital Science for Seniors.